Hello students, welcome back. Myself Kukraja Rahul. Now in today's session we have to move for the chapter number 5, that is the introduction to the Euclid's geometry. Okay, so in the previous session we already learn about that the chapter number 10. Okay, you already seen the chapter number 10. Clear that? So in the today's session we have to move on the chapter number 5, that is the last chapter from our syllabus. Okay, so let's start to move for that. Now name of the chapter, that is introduction to the Euclid's geometry. Okay, that is the Euclid's geometry. Why is written here that is Euclid's geometry? Did you know about that? Here first of all we have to know about that what is the meaning of the geometry. So here that is the word geometry comes from the Greek word geo, okay, and meaning that is the earth, okay, and metrin, that means meaning to measure. That means we have to measure the all that things around our environment. Okay, so geometry is the basically concept of the measuring all the things that are the around us. Okay, that is the main concept of the geometry, that is the main aim of the geometry. Okay, next, that is the in the ancient civilization, that is they are always using the geometrical concepts in their day-to-day life. Okay, so here we have to see that the one of the example of the that civilization, that is the Indian civilization. Okay, in Indian subcontinent, excavation at Harappa and Mohenjo-daro etc. show that the Indian Valley civilization about 300 BCE, okay, made extensive use of the geometry. It has a highly organized society. The city were highly developed and very well planned. For example, that is the road were parallel to each other, and there was the underground drainage system, Clear that? In that time the houses had many rooms of different types. In this shows that the town developers were skilled in mensuration and practical arithmetic. Okay, the bricks is used to construction where kiln fire, and the ratio of the length, breadth and thickness of the bricks was found, that is 4:2:1. Clear that? In that time the developers are use the bricks for the developing any kind of the construction. Okay, so that length, breadth and the height of that bricks are the ratio in the 4:2:1. Clear that? So here in the today's session we are learning about all the concept of the geometry. Okay, now here I am already only teach you that important things. Okay, I'll only teach the important things about this chapter. Okay, and rest of the things we don't have to learn about that, and we don't have to move for that. Okay, we have to just learn and understand that things that are important for next standard 10th. Okay, and that are important for the mathematics. Okay, so rather than we have to move for the history. Okay, we have to move for the conceptual thing that are the used in the mathematics. Okay, so we have to learn just important things in this chapter, and that's why we have to move for this kind of the explanation in the mathematics. So in exam point of view, you must to also learn that thing that I'll teach you in this lesson. Okay, rest of the things that are not asked in the examination point of view, and not you don't have to learn about that examination point of view also. Okay, clear? So now the Greek mathematician Thales is created with the giving first known proof. Okay, Thales is credited with giving the first known proof. This proof was the statement that is the circle is bisected. The first proof that the circle is bisected by the diameter. Bisected means that I'll already tell you that what is the mean of the bisect, that is the divided into the 2 equal half. Okay, that is divided into the 2 equal half. Now the proof is that the circle is divided into the 2 equal half by its diameter. That means diameter that are divided circle into the 2 equal half. Clear that? So this is the first proof that are proved by the Thales, that is a Greek mathematician. Okay, that we know that from the diameter we have to divide the circle in 2 equal half, and that 1 equal half particular we have to say that semicircle, because of the that's divided into the 2 part, so we have to write that semicircle. Clear that? One of the Thales' most famous pupil was Pythagoras. Thales' most famous pupil was Pythagoras, whom you have heard about. Pythagoras had his group discovered many geometric properties and developed the theory of the geometry to a great extent. This process continued till 300 BCE. At that time, Euclid, a teacher of mathematician at Alexander in Egypt, collected all known work and arranged in his famous treatise called Element. Clear that? At that time, Euclid, a teacher of mathematician at the time of the Alexander in the Egypt, they have to create a book, one kind of the book or one kind of the statements. Okay, in his book. Okay, so now he called that book as a name of the element, and he divided the element into the 13 chapters. He has divided element into the 13 chapters, and each called book, and each chapter that he called the book. This book influenced the whole world in understanding of the geometry for the generation to come. Okay, so now in this chapter we have to discuss the Euclid's approaches and Euclid's statements. Okay, so let's start. First of all, Euclid's definition and xioms and postulate. What is the definitions, what is the xioms, and what is the postulate? So first of all, a Greek mathematician of Euclid time through geometry and abstract model of the world in which they lived. The notation of point, line, plane, surface, and so on were derived from what was seen around them. From studies of the space and solid in the space around them, an abstract geometrical notation of the solid object was developed. So now it's most important, that is a solid shape, size. A solid has shape, size, position, and can be moved from one place to another place. Okay, clear that? That is move from the one place to the another place. Its boundaries is called surfaces. Okay, boundaries of the solid, that is known as the surfaces, and they are separated one part of this from other. Okay, and they are said have no thickness. Clear that? The boundaries of the surfaces are curves or maybe straight line. Okay, boundaries of the surfaces that are maybe curves and straight line, and the lines end in the points, and lines are also end with the points. Here the example, that is cuboid, cube, sphere, okay, the cylinder. They are the almost all the kind of the example of the different kind of the shapes and objects and solid shapes. Okay, cube and cuboid have a straight line and have surfaces, flat surfaces. Okay, and the straight line, that are edges of the cube and cuboid, okay, that are end with the one point, that are the vertex of the point, we also say that. Okay, so consider the three steps from the solid to point, that is solid, surface, line and points. Solid, surface, lines and points. So in each step we lose the one extension, also called dimension. Dimension, that means extension, that is the length, breadth, height. Okay, that is a length, breadth and height. Combination of length, breadth and height are called the dimensions of the any kind of the figure. Okay, so solid has a 3 dimension, that is the length, breadth and height. We know that. Surface is only 2 dimension. Okay, surface has only 2 dimension, that is length and breadth only. And a line has only one dimension, that is a length. Line are measured in only and only length. There is not any kind of the breadth given to the any kind of the line. Okay, if line has a breadth itself, so it's divides into the surface. Okay, so it's known as the surface, not a line. Okay, clear that? So, and a point has none. Point has a none dimension. Clear that? Point has not any kind of the length, not any kind of breadth and not any kind of the height itself. Now Euclid summarized this statement as a definitions. Euclid has summarized this all kind of the definitions in the one book, that is the definition, and he has begun exposition by listing 23 definitions in book 1 and of the element. Okay, book 1 of the element. Clear that? So now here the few definitions are given of the element book, from the book 1 element. Okay, there is a 23 definitions given in that book. Now here we have to just see some kind of the definition at here. First definition is that a point is a which has no part. That means not any kind of the length, breadth and height. Okay, a line is breadthless length. A line is a breadthless length. That means line has only one length. Okay, there is not any kind of the height or breadth is given with it. Okay, the end of the lines are point. Okay, lines are ended with the 2 point, so we have to say that line, that is as a line segment. Clear that? And a straight line is a line which lies evenly with the point on itself. Straight line is a line which lies evenly with the point on itself. Straight line are formed with the points. We know that the one of the line, okay, line that are formed with the small dots, and all these small kind of the dots are joined together to form a straight line. Okay, to form a straight line. So any kind of the line that are formed all kind of the small objects, all kind of the small dots. Okay, so combination of all kind of the dots are formed as a straight line. Clear that? So surface is that which has a length and breadth only. In the surface there is only and only length and breadth. There is not kind of the height to the surface. The edge of the surface are lines. The edge of the surfaces are lines. That may be curve or that may be straight line. Okay, there is a different kind of the lines. There are maybe curve or maybe straight line, but that's not sure that is edges of the any kind of the surface that are lines. Okay, next thing, that is seventh last one of them, that is a plane surface is surface which lies evenly with the straight lines on itself. Clear that? So here all kind of the statements and definitions we are seen. Okay, so now from the tomorrow, from next session, we have to move for the our next paragraph and next statements, that are the postulates and xioms of the Euclid's. Okay, so from the next session we have to move for the xioms and postulate of the Euclid, and we have to learn more about that. Okay, so students, I hope all of you are understanding and all of you have to enjoy this class. Okay, if you have any query and doubt, then you have to notify me for that, and you all of you have understand all that things, and you all of you must to have to learn that thing, only and only that thing that I'll teach you in this chapter, not any kind of the extra thing you have to learn about that. Okay, and not all kind of the things that I'll noted at here, and you must to note in your textbook, and you have to learn all that things in the examination point of view also. Clear that? So till then, goodbye and stay blessed.